There is no shortage of ways to spend your Magic the Gathering dollars, and Magic the Gathering is here with another way to spend them. That is the Kindred Commander deck, Secret Lair style. Everyone's invited to this party, and the tickets are $200. Joel, our Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best way to buy them. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect them. And Moxfield, the best way to put your deck lists on the internet. Today I'm joined by Spec from MTG Metrics to discuss Secret Lair Commander deck. Everyone's invited. This one goes live May 12th at 9 a.m. Pacific. Make sure you're in the Discord if you want a good community to make sure you get these Secret Lairs when they drop, or at least give yourself the best chance. Spec, what do you think of the Everyone's Invited deck just off the rip?
Off the rip, I think the art is great. I think playability leaves a little on the table, but overall, I think it is just fine.
That's been a pretty consistent thing with these Commander decks, that playability gets sacrificed, it seems like, either for theme or for like card inclusion.
Yeah, I remember the previous designer of the last deck, the 20 Ways to Win, talked about how, you know, they can only select so much of a value proposition, and when it comes to that, usually the land base is left at the wayside in lieu of better and more flashy cards to put in the deck. So that happened again.
I don't hate that approach overall, though, to be completely frank. I think that if you're going to sell a Secret Lair deck for $200, the value proposition and the collectability should probably take precedence over the playability of that deck to sit down and necessarily be a bracket 4 deck right out of the gate. What do you think?
You know, bracket 4, I agree. I think, you know, everyone likes to add their own little touch to everything, so I think leaving a little extra space to do that is great. I do, you know, for $200, I would like it to be actually not super clunky, though. So I think there should be a little more management of throw us a bone for the land base and say, hey, you know, this is not going to run only 2 out of 4 times. It will run 3 to 4 out of 4 times, or 9 out of 10 times, like all dentists recommend.
Absolutely. Let's jump into what this deck includes. You're getting a Kindred or Typal party deck here. You've got all creature types being represented, not typically what you would get out of a Morophon the Boundless Commander deck, which is intended to be the commander of this deck. So you've got this shapeshifter plus Kindred thing going on, and we've seen the most successful of these, Spec, are the ones that are built around specific creature types. We're actually going to go and look at the prior Commander decks that Secret Lairs offered us at the end to kind of get context for what the prices of these could go over time. But with Morophon the Boundless and the other 9 cards here, Spec, what are we looking at as far as value, monetary inclusions, not necessarily playability?
You know, I think there's a decent amount of value. If you were to take everything, including the bulk, you're getting exactly $200. So that's solid, right? Like, at least you're not shoveling out a ton of cash for you know, $50 worth of cards. You know, obviously we see with pre-cons you get a little more bang for your buck, but the bang for your buck in this sense is you're getting new art treatments.
Lots of new art treatments that look really fantastic if you're into treatments with a lot of color. Tendershoot Dryad, Coat of Arms here, just absolutely pumping the color in with Maskwood Nexus and Soul Ring. What is this art style on the left? This reminds me of something that I would see on like a Trapper Keeper in 2004.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a legally distinct Lisa Frank kind of art going on here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It looks like Lisa Frank a lot. Very colorful, very cool looking art over the top if you like that style.
And you know, I think this is highly desirable. Everything that I saw coming off social media, and just because they released all of these cards, basically they gave a card to a separate content creator, and they all dropped them a few Fridays ago.
Yeah.
And chat was overwhelmingly positive about this. Responses on Twitter and Blue Sky, whatever. I have yet to find someone really knocking the art for this. I've seen lots of critiques about financial value, which I think is fair.
Sure.
But in terms of art, I haven't seen a single really negative outcry. You know, I think this is really, really well received and well sought after art.
Yeah, and I think it will be long term as well. I actually was just making a piece a short on how Morophon needs to be reprinted, and we need a new version of its art as well. We just haven't gotten any choices. Here you are. Here's the choice. This one looks awesome. Cute sells. That has been proven that cute sells and will probably continue to sell long term, which is why they aimed this layer in that direction.
Well, it's cute and it's thematic. Like the original Morphon art, which, you know, it's nostalgic and what have you, but this one actually shows like a bunch of different creatures in it.
Right.
And Morphon is not a weird amorphous blob, so you can actually, you know, be more into it.
You can look at the value of the new art inclusions here. Coat of Arms represents the most expensive to go and get a base copy of it, of the new art cards at around $16. Bitter Blossom, surprising honestly that this is a $14 card now, but that's not to say that these treatments will stay at that price. This is to say that is the cheapest that you could go get this for of any possible version right at this moment. You got Bitter Blossom around 14. You got the Coat of Arms over 16. But these are going to be so desired long term that those prices are definitely going to be more expensive for all of these treatments, much less Bitter Blossom and Coat of Arms.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've seen we'll get into it later, but it's not like any of these commander decks that they've done for Secret Lair has ever gone backwards in terms of value.
No, not a ton, especially long term. Also notable is that we got 4 new tokens in this deck, 4 shapeshifter tokens. I hadn't originally noticed that that was part of the inclusion on this layer, but I think it's a really important inclusion because these are the kind of tokens that could sneaky get up in the $5, $10, $15 range before anybody notices it.
The token market is always so strange to me. You've got certain things like these could go anywhere, but you've got like Fable of the Mirror Breakers token was like $10. There was a Saproling token from a fungus layer that got really up there. It's always weird what people really want out of a token.
Yeah. But having new ones, especially of something Shapeshifter 2/2, Shapeshifter Changeling tokens, those are widely applicable in these types of decks. And so,
yeah, and we don't get Shapeshifters in basically most sets. I think maybe Kaldheim was the last one we had a good chunk of Shapeshifters. So it's been a minute since we've gotten any Shapeshifter tokens.
They look cool. I do appreciate, just looking back through the new art one more time, I do appreciate how they were able to achieve different styles across the entire piece. Like that's clearly a different art style to raise the Palisade here is on Morophon the Boundless, but it still looks like a cohesive group of cards, even though when you do get these Secret Lair decks, you're only getting like 10 to 15 cards total that are actually new art. Everything else is just reprints.
Yeah, it's typically 10, and I agree. I think they did a good job with the art, and I think it's even thematic with the sense that everything is a different creature type, that they can have a little leeway in the art theming, so they can be just a little different, but it still kind of makes sense altogether.
Looking at the value of this one overall, you said we're about break even on the deck as it is, but there is some value down here in the main list. We have got some cards down here that are surprising, but it's just because we basically haven't seen them in a long time, with cards like Kinsbale Cavalier here, representing some value in the non-new art reprints.
Yeah, I mean, that's about a $12 card. There's a good amount of cards that, well, I would say 80 cards are not worth it in terms of like they're definitely under $1, right? You've got all your lands for the most part,
right?
A bunch of these guys, but you do have some notable outsets, like everything over $2 is still worth about $160. So you've got 22 cards that are in the money out of this deck, which is by and large what you typically get from these commander decks.
Yeah, very relevant. Seeing a copy of Black Market Connections alongside cards like Kindred Discovery, and I just saw Kindred Dominance up here as well. Very playable, even if it's not like the most expensive card in the freaking deck. Very playable, applicable cards.
Yeah, there are 3 Kindred of that cycle. There's 3 in the deck, and they're all basically the good ones, and they're all in there. They're all in the top 10 list because they don't reprint those very often, so they are definitely nice to see.
You look at the mana base, you see exactly what you would expect. The cheapest fetches, your pain lands, the stuff that filter mana. That's typically what you're going to find in this for them to do the best they can with a 5 mana color base without giving you fetches or surveil lands or triumphs, right?
Yeah, a Triumph would have been a nice bone to throw at us for the land base. Just something more easily fetchable. It would really help with this deck a lot. The fun and good include that they got from land base wise. You get a Mutavault, which is really nice, fits the theme and all that jazz. But the whole land theming is really scuffed up by the fact that they've put all the cutesy kindred lands in there. So, hey, if you have a giant, this comes in untapped.
Right.
Because you have about 20-ish shapeshifters in there. So all of those kind of lands are in here.
Right. That makes sense. Stuff like Gilt Leaf Palace comes into play. You can reveal an elf from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. Also, we should definitely mention Ren and Siri reprint. Not bad. Pretty good value, too.
Yeah, the only other time we've gotten the reprint is in the other Secret Lair deck for Cats and Dogs. So, this is actually the #1 reprint in the deck, believe it or not.
I do believe it. It makes sense. It's pretty scarce. Ren and Siri, you're #1 at around $23. You got Coat of Arms at around 16, and then the Bitter Blossom. We saw those from the new art reprints. Kinsbale Cavalier that we talked about, and Kindred Dominance getting us to the top 5. Then you got Black Market Connections around $9. Raise the Palisade, which is one of the new art cards there that did need a reprint, by the way. I built a Kindred deck recently that had blue in it, and I went to get a copy of this, and I was like, dang, this card's getting up there. So it's nice that it's getting a reprint here.
Yeah, and it's nice that some of the higher value cards that are getting reprinted are also getting new art. So it's like a double win for that kind of stuff.
100%. Your 7th and your 8th most expensive reprints. Your number 8 with Kindred Summons is around $7. New art, to your point. And then Mutavault around $7. And then Shapesharer, which is a card that I wasn't super familiar with. Let me bring it up here. This one is just into those, like, if you need changelings, you're gonna want these cards here, and if it's scarce, it's gonna be more expensive. So overall, as Spec said, you've got $198 on a $199 Secret Lair. Spec, they're getting pretty good at aiming these values right at the line so that people like us can't complain about them too much.
Oh, don't worry. I'll still find a way, Joel. Don't worry.
Overall, this one value-wise seems pretty good, but I think we would be remiss just ending the conversation there. I really do think that it is worth looking at the other Secret Lairs that we have gotten that are Commander decks. The most recent one being Commander Deck 20 Ways to Win. Overall, $195, $5 shipping. This is one of the few. Now look, this one hasn't even been out a year. This came out in November, in December. But this is one of the few where the price currently is just ticking downward and is not really holding the value that typically you would expect out of this product. Yeah,
I think there's a couple things going on here. Aside from the fact that I think people are just overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that's happening. This just came out. The deck just doesn't play super great. So it's kind of tough from that aspect. I don't think it's something that anyone typically gravitates for. It doesn't have a huge creature type that people really love. It's not super cute. It has some cute art in it, don't get me wrong. But just thematically, it's not typically what people are looking for.
Yeah.
And it's still gone up, right? It's 18% over what it used to be. Not that covers shipping it to someone if you're trying to offload that.
Right.
But, it's still technically up.
Yeah, technically. I think you're right. It's interesting to see a deck where the playability outweighed the collectability factor of it, at least in the short term. However, you can see, look at the premium new art cards that were included with this version. They went cute. They were like, we got to do something, and we know the cute move work. Let's try it again. We've seen the cute move work on the Reigning Cats and Dogs Secret Lair. I can't believe that I didn't grab a copy of this one. One of the biggest FOMOs of my entire Secret Lair coverage career life. I just didn't want to buy it at the time. I knew it was going to go up. You can go check our review of that. Me and Jake definitely called this one out as, oh yeah, this one's got all the markers. And look at its 1 year numbers. It's up 30% over where it was last year.
Yeah, I mean, I picked it up because it, as you said, it had all the markers, and I had some spare powder to burn that month. So I was like, yeah, I'll snag one of these.
The deck is centered around cute animals, cute creature types, cute art on the cards. This one, for being a $150 Secret Lair deck, already getting up toward the $400 range. Kind of insane. I think that's worth noting too. We haven't noticed it or said anything about it, but 150 was the price for these decks, and now they're 200. I think that's notable. You've got the From Cute to Brute one that was released. Overall, up 13%. Still not as growth heavy as you would maybe expect. But I think right now you're also seeing, look at the 1 month on some of the bigger premium products. You're seeing that fatigue creep into the top end of the collector space as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got general fatigue in terms of product, but we're also, you know, if you want to call it a recession economically, we've definitely in a downtrend. So these are the kind of things that get offloaded when people need to pay for other things like living.
They tried to do a cute thing with this. Half of the decks were cute and there were flip cards. That was the whole draw with this one, was the flip cards in this Cute to Brute layer. So you can see it's gained value, but it didn't have those like premium markers. That From Cute to Brute is more of an attempt at the cute thing, in my opinion, not so much an execution of it. As it is with Angels, having a badass creature type, even though it's not necessarily the cutest thing possible, that has really jacked this one up. I mean, you can see the 1 year prices on this one. It's up 40%. It's nuts.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, this deck is, I mean, over time, I mean, it's up more than 40%.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, for a $150 product to now be a $590 product. And I would have to go back and look. I can't remember if this was sold within the era where Secret Lair could sell out, or if this just sat there and everybody could order whatever they wanted. Do you remember where this one fell in the timeline?
I believe so. This came out in July of 2023, and I do believe, I believe all the Commander decks have been limited stock.
Got you.
So it's except for maybe the first one, the Heads or Tails deck, but that one was mired with so many other shipping issues. It's tough to recall. But yeah, all the Commander decks have been limited quantity. So the most recent one, 20 Ways to Win, is the only one that kind of lingered for a while before selling out. Most of these sold out within a day. That one took a couple days, I think.
And that takes us back to the original Secret Lair Commander deck that we got, which was Heads I Win, Tails You Lose, coin flipping deck. The whole idea with this one was it's Gavin's personal deck, and that was one of the marketing pieces for this Secret Lair drop. I mean, the numbers, 38% over a year, and this one was around that 150 range, I believe, as well. I can't remember. Yeah. It was so long ago.
This one was 100. This was the first one. It was $100, and it had a couple other things going for it, right? It was the first time they had ever done this. It was really new and interesting. Obviously, Gavin wrote a love song about it because it was his personal deck, and he really liked it.
Right.
But there's nothing cute here. There's no creature type that anyone was really into. None of the typical driving markers of what we see for Secret Lairs. This was just the first of a thing, and it was so unique that and the stock was so bad that it ended up, you know, artificially shrinking.
Mine is curled.
Here.
Mine is 100% curled. All of the foils curled. You can open the deck up and look and see where all the foils are. Yes, that is a thing. So we want to look at all of these from the past to then go and look at Morophon the Boundless at the head of the Everyone's Invited deck to go, do we see the same markers? If you're just looking at this as an investment, do you think that it follows the trends of the ones that have gone significantly up or the ones that have just kind of stayed stagnant? That's a choice for you, the viewer. Let us know down in the comments if you are going to be purchasing the Everyone's Invited. Spec, it sounds like this is a buy for you.
You know, it's potential. I always make my decisions the Sunday before the layers drop.
Same.
But what I'm weighing here is, while I think, yes, it will be positive, with the extra $50 cost, the margins are going to be so much slimmer. Moving this is going to take a lot more of an uptick for me if I, you know, whenever I decide to move it, right?
Yes. And that is definitely a part of it.
Right, and it falls in that same bracket of Cute to Brood and 20 Ways to Win. It's got cute art, but not necessarily a theme that people are really driven to play and want. Right. Obviously, it's more, I think it's better than both of those decks in that regard, so I think it'll do a little better than that.
Yeah.
But $200 is so much more money to ask, especially right now.
It's tough right now, and that's really where I fall on this one. Is it's easy to look at this one and say, hey, yeah, this one will probably gain value over time, but there's only a certain amount of doll hairs to go around, and Final Fantasy is on the horizon going, I'm going to be expensive. Right. And Spider-Man past that, Edge of Eternity's past that. And so it's like with this one, I'm like, ugh. Maybe if I could flip some of these damn Miku layers fast enough, because to your point, a lot of the higher end stock becomes harder to move, so you have to keep that in mind when you're like, yeah, I'm gonna buy and flip the hell out of this, baby. Right. It's like, are you set up for that?
And I would say layers, like regular layers, take up a lot less space. I don't think people typically think about that, but you have a finite amount of space to store stuff.
Right.
Decks take up more space. Even if this pops 20% year over year, that's $20 because it cost you $200. Shipping is like $25 to get one of these decks out the door if you're paying for insurance and tracking all that stuff.
Right.
So you need to get more than 20% back on this before you're even looking to move this, which is asking a lot.
So that's the financial breakdown. You heard the playability breakdown. Let us know down in the comments if you're going to be purchasing this one. Spec, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Let me know where the people can find you.
You can find me over at MTG Metrics. I do a bunch of breakdowns on set EVs. We cover all the secret layer stuff, and we do random other fun number stuff whenever I actually get a chance to do that.
Make sure you go check out Spec's channel. The links are down there in the description. Appreciate you watching. If you've watched this far, go check out the Patreon. See if you want to support me directly and get involved with our community on a deeper level. We got cards, we got playmats, we got free Dragon Shield sleeves, and a Thursday night Commander night that you can come play with me and all the homies in the Discord every Thursday. Go check it out, see if it's a good fit for you. And other than that, if you'll hit that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!